Hello and welcome to the Game of Miles podcast, where we take a game of inches and turn it into 1,000 miles. The 2022 fantasy football season is over, and we have one great podcast for you. So let's buckle up and get ready to go.
All right.
Sweet.
We made it,
guys.
We made it. The end of the season.
It's hard to believe it's already over.
I know. Went by quick.
It actually did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know. This is Wednesday. We're shooting this, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm excited for Thursday Night Football tomorrow. Nope.
Nope.
Already into the playoffs, and
Nothing.
the football will be over soon, and then we'll have college basketball to look forward to.
Oh, I was watching the KU-OU game last night. KU almost. Sorry, I have to adjust my screen. Also.
Oh, I didn't even wear mine, dude. You should have texted me.
I don't know if you guys can read it. BJ's Hardware officially has merch.
Oh, they can see it.
Man, I should have worn mine.
Oh, that is good. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that was a little surprise.
That's pretty
good. So
go
to the BJ store and get yours today.
That's right. Only $54.99.
$54.99.
Love it. All right. Well, as sad as it is that this is our last podcast, I think we have a good one lined up for everybody. We're going to hand out some awards here in a bit, which I'm super excited about. But before we do that, Kamish, we're going to go to your corner one last time and hear any updates you got for us.
The final corner of the season. First up, the playoff watch party will be effective on the 29th, pending the Chiefs make it to the AFC Championship game. I expect everyone to be there, babies and all, bring them. We'll get there and hopefully get an AFC Championship that day. It's the classic. I think we're going to do burgers, brats. Everyone bring an app, BYOB. There'll be whiskey and moonshine cherries, whatever Boyd always has there. So the 29th, put that on your calendars. And then I'll just say it. I'm up for re-election next year. I know this league was pretty flawless under my reign this year. No problems. Everyone's on their best behavior. I already have the votes for 23, so no need to vote on it. So I'll be back next year as your commish.
And he's modest.
Yes.
Modest.
That's just what the people tell me. It's what the people tell me.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. But we don't pretend that there's no coincidence that you won the championship the year you were commissioned.
Yeah.
There will be a formal investigation of the people.
Well, I now know how Grant feels when we used to yell at him for all of his winnings, including it comes with the territory.
Yep.
There's some correlation there. Grant won a couple championships while being commish.
Mm-hmm.
You just did. Maybe people need to be signing up for a commissioner. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, the fantasy gods, they're real.
You get rewarded for putting up with all the crap.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. I thought this year was pretty smooth, though. There was besides our little decimal point kicking that I changed during the middle of a Thursday night game.
There was no issues with the championship game.
I was going to say, besides
I forgot.
Not for you.
I meant league-wise. That will never happen again. I mean, hope not, but that was... I meant league-wise with different owners and collusion, and I mean, I'm sure that still went on underneath my nose, but what Mama don't know won't, burger. So the championship game was, that was just.
Yeah, that was crazy.
We'll get into
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. But that pretty much wraps up the final commissioner's corner.
All right. Well, thank you for all you do.
Can I add something?
Yeah,
sure.
I know that since we don't have a watch party at Boyd's now, I don't know what people are doing for either wild card weekend or for the Chiefs' actual first the divisional round game. But, yes. People want to get together, we can plan something. So be on the lookout and group me for that.
Yeah, I was actually gonna. I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna put that in group me. Not this weekend. Obviously, Chiefs aren't playing, but next weekend. I mean, I wouldn't mind going to someone's house. Making an afternoon of it.
Yeah, that'd be good. I mean, if anybody wants to do anything this weekend, it could be like go to a bar and watch some of the games or something. It doesn't have to be because the Chiefs aren't playing, but we can figure something out.
Yep, we'll put that in group me as well.
Yeah. All right. Anyways.
Yep. No, that sounds great. Love it. All right. Moving on, we did have, speaking of the Commissioner's Corner in reference to the championship weekend, we had some crazy games, crazy instances. The championship weekend, everybody obviously knows, but we just want to kind of recap what happened in both the championship game and the Squid game. Maybe let's start with the Squid game first, just because.
Sure.
No big deal. Wasn't too much of a matchup, but
blowout.
Yeah.
What did you guys think about it? Did you see it coming? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe we picked you on the podcast to win.
I don't know if I did because you didn't have Hurts.
Right.
I'd have to check back on the podcast. I may have picked Lang. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah,
I picked Spellman.
I'm not sure who what all the predictions were, but
no, your team stepped up. They
played well.
They did play well. They played really well. I believe you outscored Willie and I both.
I had 103. Looks like
I think I had 90.
You guys were under 100.
Yeah, 99. Yeah, so it was.
I mean,
100 points in the Squid Bowl is fantastic. Yep. That's what you want. I mean. That's usually enough to get it done.
Yep.
So Lang, I will give Lang some credit. He had a pretty nice score of 69, so at least he has some fun.
That's what's up, yo.
Nice, dude. If you're gonna go out with a 69.
Yeah, I think you know what? I mean, I didn't think Landon would be Squid. Like if you would have asked me 6 weeks ago. I thought Fathom for sure was going to be the Squid.
I think a really important thing that happened, I know that I complained a lot about my players not playing him because he has Tony Pollard, right? So he didn't get Tony Pollard, and I think that was probably a big part because, I mean, he was a massive piece for Lang all year. So not having Pollard, I think, really hurt him.
Well,
but you didn't have Hurts.
The thing that killed him was, I didn't have Hurts, so I started Minshew, who didn't do anything. But the thing that killed him was he didn't have Pollard, so he played both Tampa Bay running backs.
Yep.
Yeah. Not only did the Bucks go off, but Tom Brady was on my bench with like 40 points, and Mike Evans had
he finally
3 touchdowns and 200 yards. So he had the right team that went off. He just didn't have the right players. So.
Yes, and Justin Fields was pretty tame. Didn't you start Tom Brady 2 weekends ago and got burned by him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you did the right thing anyone probably would have stayed away from Tom that day.
I was just watching that. I was paying attention, and I can't do the thing where you just don't pay attention all day and just see. But it was pretty short of early on in the day, and it just makes you feel good not having to worry about it.
We'll have to worry about it.
And I will say we could have had another case where games went into Monday night and could have been a deciding factor. So I'm just glad that
with your play.
Unfortunately for you guys, I know it sucked, but I'm just glad that it wasn't in both games.
Willie, I was hoping it'd be over on Sunday, no matter who was going to win, just because going into Monday. I
will agree with you on that. I was like, God, I don't want to have to wait another day to find out what's going to happen.
I watched closely every football game that was on TV on that Sunday on Red Zone.
Yeah, I had Red Zone.
And I'm talking from noon through Sunday Night Football. So it was.
I did the same thing.
I could not have not watched, like you said, Spelly. I had to.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Not to.
Well, okay, where were you guys at? We're gonna shift to your game. So where were you guys at watching it?
I just stayed at home.
On Sunday or Monday?
On Sunday.
I was at home, and then I was at Boy Julie's house. But I was at home when Najee scored.
Nice.
Which was ultimately the deciding factor.
Both, and we were talking about it in Gurmy, but both Jacobs and Najee getting those late touchdowns. I stayed up and watched that Steelers game, and that Najee touchdown, I yelled in my living room like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was just crazy.
I did too. I can't believe that. Yeah, he threw it to him. So it was just. Sorry to relive it, Willie, but it was.
Those 2 touchdowns are the difference in our game.
100%.
I was
100%.
maybe 5 seconds away total. Like,
Yep.
there was no time left in those games.
Yeah. And without those, you guys were projected all day to be within a couple points of each other.
Yeah.
So you guys probably would have gone into Monday Night Football projected the same or close.
Oh my God. Could you imagine, Willie, if that was and then Monday Night Football happened?
All right. So where'd you guys watch it on Monday night? What were you guys doing?
I actually was not going to watch it at all. I went and I was at 3rd Street Social getting a $1 hams.
Sick.
And and well, I just went there. I had a buddy came in who wanted to hang out, and we were like, all right, yeah, let's hang out. And I was like, yeah, I need to do literally anything else but watch this game. So I totally 180'd. I didn't want to do anything that involved the game. But then,
okay, so you're at 3rd Street Social. You're not paying attention. I assume they had the game on.
The game was on. Here in Kansas City, for those that aren't, it started downpouring, like. So the game's on. There's no sound though. They're just playing music, and they have Dish, and it started pouring after he went down. They came back.
Went away.
They came back like really brief, and then just showed like I could see like a stretcher or something. Like they were gonna cart him off. That's all I could like see. The ambulance wasn't out there or anything yet, and then. Like the TVs went out, all of them went out because it was raining so hard. So I didn't know. And then we're like going to leave and come back here I don't even know what we were doing. Just hanging out. And Jess texted me. She was at the gym. She was like, "Are you watching the football game?" And I was like, "No, I saw a guy get hurt." She was like, "Oh, they're doing like CPR on the field." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it was.
So like I'm in my car and I turned on. I just turned to like the radio to try to listen to what was, and then that's how I kind of like found out. And then they weren't gonna play the game, and I was like, it was just, what do we do from here? I wasn't actually really thinking about. I was kind of over it. I was like accepted the loss by that time because it was just it was a big gap. So it was more like, man, this is like a wild thing that they actually like are not going to play this game right now. So that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I didn't get to have I would argue my 3 best players in that game.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
We had Derrick Henry rest, and then I had to make a choice and play somebody, so I just played the starter for them that night. And then that was Thursday Night Football. Friday, DeAndre Hopkins gets a random injury and is out.
Which makes you think now that he's going to be traded.
Yeah, he was definitely
just done.
Yeah, he was definitely saying, "I'm not playing."
Colt McCoy like didn't pass concussion protocol or whatever, and he was like, "I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not."
Yeah, there's
I'll
no
get a ball
need
from because I was like, I'll play him if Colt McCoy plays, and if he doesn't, I'm not playing him again because nobody else can throw the ball. So I lost him because Colt McCoy was out, and then to just not have Jamar Chase at all was brutal.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is the first play of the game, they threw it to Jamar Chase. First play, 40 yards, bink, overthrew him, and I was like, oh my God, there goes, dodged a bullet. And then, he was pretty MIA the rest of the first quarter, but then that happened.
Well, they only played 9 minutes.
Well, I know, but they I will say they did lock him down for those 9, but I was like, can they do it all game? Like that's what I was. That was my mind for the whole game.
So 51
was
more minutes.
can they lock him down the whole game? I know they were going to lock him down, and then like field goals is what I needed. But then when Hamlin went down, the first thing was I hope he's okay. But then it was, oh my God, me and Willie are going to have to wait 2.5 weeks to decide who win, who's going to win.
It's bizarre, but yeah, I mean, I feel like I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
I didn't actually like play my team. Like Jake played his team and I played one half of my team maybe and a bunch of other random people. So yeah.
I will say you do need a little bit of luck to win a championship.
I think you got a lot of luck.
And that goes with like in just real sports in general. So yeah,
that's true. Yeah. That's a good point.
I had a little bit of help. I mean, you can't deny that.
Yeah.
I would argue a lot of help, but okay.
Well, it was definitely entertaining to say the least.
And I am now the first 2-time championship loser. Nobody else in our league has been to the championship more than once and not won one. So everybody that's been to multiple has.
Hey, everybody has a thing, Willie.
Yeah, well, I got mine losing in the championship, you know.
Yeah. Well.
Oh man, I love it. Well, it was fun. I don't know. I hope that never happens again. It's just it was crazy. So,
yeah, it was just bizarre. A lot of bizarre things.
And I will say, I mean, I thought that what the league came to as a resolution for the crazy scenario was fair. I saw a lot of other solutions out there. People were sending Madden.
Dude, that would have been unreal to have me and Willie, and we all sit there and watch it.
Yeah,
unreal.
You know, some people did the Week 18 stuff. You know, some people just left it there, but then I think Rich said his dad was like projected. He was down by like 5 points, and he had Burrow and Jamar Chase and something left, and then they just wrote us like, oh no, it's a tie like champion. So like, I don't know. I thought it was at least. I was glad that the projections were off. If Najee and Jacobs didn't have those touchdowns and you guys were projected the same, it would have been a much tougher call.
Well, I will say, I don't know what the final thing ended up like. Week 18, I think we would have ended up within like 5 points of each other. If we had played them week 18, because I think Chase had over 18, and I think your kicker only had like 3 or 4. So it would have been really close if we had done that. Yeah. I still would have lost, so I can take that piece with it of like if we had done week 18, I would have still lost anyways. So I can live with it. If Jamar had scored 30 and your kicker had like -2, I would have had a lot harder time swallowing it. You know what I mean?
You're right. So. Yeah, I think it ended. Yeah, I don't want to say it ended up working out, but I think it was the best case with the situation.
Yeah, it did because it didn't change the outcome either way.
Right.
Like our decision to do what we did didn't change the outcome of the game, so that I think is what's important. It would have been a much murkier thing if like that week 18 scores had been different, but because that's really the only other option I think we could have even like considered. But also get why we did what we did. It was just weird because it was like it was the Monday Night Football game, so there was no chance to like sub somebody. It's like I played him. I couldn't like, but even if I had tried to sub somebody on my bench, it wouldn't have been good enough either. So it's like there was a lot of things that just added up to it working out that way.
Yeah. Heard that.
Yep.
Unfortunate, but I will say congratulations to Jake as our 2022 fantasy champion. And
thank you.
to Lang as the new Squid. Happy to shed that off. We'll
are you going to mail him the hat?
I need to do that.
Just take the hat to Jake's house so when he drops off the championship trophy, he can pick up the hat.
Or if we get confirmation he's coming to the watch party, we can have an exchange of hardware and hats.
Okay, that all sounds good. All right, let's get into the awards. This is what I think everybody's been waiting for. Whatever
season awards.
Yeah, that's right. So Willie's going to read each one off, and I believe we're going to go from top to bottom, champion down to squid. So
you want champion to squid or squid to champion?
Champion to squid.
Let's do that.
All right, deal.
So Jake or champion, what do you got for him, Willie? Do you have it up on the screen?
I do. I got it up.
Okay.
So Jake, you are receiving the Miracle on Ice award. You slayed the USSR that was Scott, the all-time, just probably the best team we've seen in the league in a really long time. Much like the Miracle on Ice Team USA, you slayed them, and that was in the not the gold
semis.
In the semis.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
and you were down after my Thursday night game where I had Schultz go off, and it looked like my projection was very high after that. And you
121. You
had to come back to get the gold medal. It just mirrors the Miracle on Ice.
Wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's very fitting.
Yep. So, Miracle on Ice award.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. Yeah, Pete Scott was that was really my team. My team had to play pretty much perfect, and they did. And I still only beat them by 3.
That's like the Chiefs and the Bills playing, and that's kind of actually the Super Bowl, even though the real Super Bowl's after that.
Yeah,
exactly. Hey, one time, baby.
All it took.
All right, who's next? Willie.
Moving on, second place. I'm receiving the Lemony Snicket Series of Unfortunate Events award.
Yeah, that's also very fitting.
That's a perfect award.
Just weird, and they were all just bizarre. It was a Derrick Henry resting in week 17 in week whatever week it was.
Yeah, 17.
17.
Even though they had to play week 18.
And it's funny because we play the championship in week 17 to avoid week 18 rests, and Willie's was just flopped.
The one scenario where that happened.
Yeah.
And then obviously the Monday Night Football stuff. And then DeAndre Hopkins going out on Friday, which I think was just a play to not get hurt so he could get traded. If we're all
100% why he did that. Yeah, he was like, screw that. I'll just sit out.
Just a lot of weird stuff that happened, but I think that award is pretty fitting.
Yep.
I agree. I think you just deserve the award for your life. You just had a lot of random thing, like a tumor in your face.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I have so many weird
MRSA.
Yeah.
MRSA.
Oh, yeah.
So glad you could carry it with you on the fantasy field. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it doesn't end.
Okay. Scott.
Scott, you are receiving the Evan Ritchie Best Regular Season Team That Didn't Win Anything award, which unfortunately is the stigma that has gone with Rich now, of being the best regular season team year in and year out, and not being able to win a championship. His teams are always incredible. They just, something happens in the playoffs and, takes one game, but
I will say, yes, Rich has earned that, unfortunately for him. He just hasn't had the luck part, like we were talking about earlier. He knows how to draft. He knows how to manage the team. He knows how to trade, the whole 9 yards, but the luck just hasn't been there for him. So if we play this long enough and for enough seasons, the luck will come.
Yeah.
But it definitely sucks waiting for that luck to come on your side.
Yeah, I'll be happy the day we rename that award to somebody else. Right now it's his award, and it goes to Scott for being a dominant regular season team and coming away with nothing.
Big fat 0, baby.
Yeah. Speaking of Rich was 4th this year. He is receiving the Groundhog Day award for reliving the same season year in and year out, as we just kind of talked about. Just kind of having a really good team and fizzling out in the playoffs.
Yep. Again, would love to see him shake that, but maybe we need to get like a little groundhog stuffed animal for him or something.
Oh yeah, a little gopher.
A voodoo doll.
Oh, there you go. Maybe he can sacrifice the gopher or the groundhog. I'm sorry, the groundhog.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
All right. Next is Alex Harmon. Harmon is receiving the 2022 Minnesota Vikings award for being a team with a lot of wins, but is actually terrible.
He was so bad.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, I think we counted up. We did it on the podcast. He had like 5 or 6 wins, and he didn't break.
Oh, there was it was like way more than that. I think
either 100 or 90 or something like that. He just.
I mean, he was.
I don't know how he did it.
Lowest in points for, and he had like 11 wins, I think, or I don't know. I'll wait for the ticker to come around and it'll tell me. But
that's funny.
Yeah, and much like the Vikings this year, what's the actual Vikings record? Does anybody have that up, or could you look it up?
I think they were like 12-4.
I saw earlier, or I heard somebody on the radio or something. The Minnesota Vikings had a negative point differential this year. That's the winningest team to have a negative point differential by like a massive margin. So seems very similar to what happened with Harmon this season. And I expect the Minnesota Vikings to get bounced early in the playoffs, much like Harmon. So
there you go. Willie is giving out betting advice for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that's a tough bet.
Yeah. I think as much as some of the crazy stuff was that happened this season, especially in the playoffs, and even Scott getting beat, blah blah blah. Like Harmon, his record was maybe one of the craziest things we've seen out of everything that even happened this year.
You would talk about luck. Yeah. I mean, you have a little bit of luck.
Yeah.
Right.
You got him.
You give a pinch of his luck, and the thing was, it was all season. Like
he had it every week.
Somebody just wants that luck for 1 week in the playoffs. Give that to Rich or Scott, and they're champions. But he had it all year long, and then it fizzled out.
Yep. All right, moving on. Spencer, we are giving Spencer the Trash King Award for this year. He did win his division, but it was not a very good division. It was the only division where the bottom 2 people were not at 500 or above. And it included Landon, who is Squid. He won some games. That was nice. Got in there, but I don't know. It feels like, like Tampa Bay this year, who's like, yeah, you won, but your division sucks. It wasn't that hard for you to get into the playoffs, that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, and he was the only team in his division to make the playoffs. Everybody else had 2 teams.
Well, there had to be one other division that only had 1 team. It was whatever division Grant was in, but Grant was 7-7, but he lost out on the points. So
You're right.
But still, he was 500, and nobody else was 500 in Spencer's division. So the worst division winner will basically every year get the Trash King Award.
Would you guys, switching gears here, would you say that this is one of the better fantasy seasons, with it coming down to almost a quadruple tiebreaker for
the watch
me, Grant, and Willie to get into the playoffs? The watch party.
It was great.
And then the Monday night game.
I will say, I think part of the reason that it was such a good season is because people weren't tanking to get a good
draft
keeper
picks,
for next year or trading draft picks.
That's a good point.
So that is why I don't think we've had quite this much excitement in the past few years, is because if you're out, you trade for a keeper, and so there's more disparity there. So I think that us going back to people keeping their studs and stuff like that with what we have in the future, I think that's going to be a good thing.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. So interesting.
Yep, for sure. All right, so that was all of our playoff teams. Moving on, the the highest ranking person out of the Squid Bowl was G. Grant is receiving the Brett Veach Trade of the Year award for trading away Cooper Kupp, who never played again, for well, Blake, why don't you tell us what I don't remember what the trade, Pierce and somebody else, right?
DJ Moore. Yep. So Grant got me. That's all I could say.
The league villain strikes again.
I mean,
yeah, it did make me feel so much better that Pierce ended up not playing in the playoffs. He was on IR. DJ Moore was actually really good. Grant didn't need him, but I sure could have used him on my team, but it all worked out. But
anyway,
that was definitely worst trade in league history. I don't know.
It's I mean it's
up there.
It's up there with Adam trading his Josh Jacobs for the backup.
Adam. That's number one.
But at least Adam got a guy that at least like played in the game.
I mean,
he got it for 1 week, right?
I mean,
you got to.
He was gambling, but it
would have made more sense if we were doing keepers again. You could have kept Kupp, but I mean, anyways, Grant gets the trade of the year.
All right, we have 7 minutes, Willie. Let's
hustle it up. We're getting there. All right, next up is Kyle. He was the other team that got out the first week of the Squid Bowl. He is receiving the Bottom Feeder Award. Mostly because of what he had to experience with his draft stock and just the trash that he was picking up off the bottom.
I also believe you guys can probably help me out. I believe I drafted Josh Jacobs, and Kyle said Josh Jacobs was on his do not draft list.
He
yelled at me from the kitchen, and Josh Jacobs was arguably my best player. So, and Bottom Feeder is deemed by Alex Harmon.
Don't listen to him. He was in the Squid Bowl and you won the championship, so you can do whatever you want.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's the Bottom Feeder mentality.
Part of his reason for being Bottom Feeder was just because he had traded so much away last year. Like his second pick wasn't until like the 6th round or something. Like I mean, it was like insane. So I think that was a bit of that. But I mean, just taking a lot of flyers on guys on the waiver wire.
He's our Bottom Feeder. Yeah. Oh, and I will post this to GroupMe. I will count up Kyle's transactions this year. I know I went through a phase of counting them, and he was like at 44 with like 5 weeks into the season. So, and I stopped counting. So I'll do a count for you guys and post it.
I like that. Perfect. All right. Moving on. Next up is Luke Morris. Luke Morris is receiving the Marty Ball Award for scoring a ton of points and not winning anything at all.
Talk about also bad luck. Maury had some draft picks. He had a pretty solid team. He put up a lot of points, but he just could not. I don't know.
He's injuries. Like the 2021 Brooklyn Nets, like all this talent and couldn't.
Another super team and just couldn't get it going.
Just caught a lot of bad breaks and couldn't get the wins to even get into the playoffs, which is just kind of mind-blowing. He's the anti-Harmon this year, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and Maury, we'll have a meeting soon about your draft pick next year. You know, maybe compensating something for you so you don't have to. You can get rid of that pick, and we can make things all square.
Well, we can talk about. I would vote that he still gets it. He sacrificed.
He already told me that I could pay him $1 million, and he wouldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, so just give it to him. But anyway, let's get the awards over. That tangent is for another episode. All right, so next up is Adam, who also got out in the second week of the Squid Bowl. He is receiving the Taco Award for so many.
Self-explanatory.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's no.
Multiple times he started guys that were like listed as out on like the Wednesday injury report, and then they didn't play until Sunday, and he just like started them anyways. He did that to me and beat me with a player that was out. And so it's it's just, and he didn't end up being Squid yet again.
And I know he reads. He's like, oh, there's so much going on in GroupMe, blah blah blah. I can't pay attention. Well, someone said something about him going to the swingers club, and he liked it real fast. So I know he's reading it. He pays attention to that stuff, but he won't pay attention. He won't pay attention to who's playing or not playing for the week.
So yeah, that one's pretty self-explanatory. Next up, the not Squid anymore, Blake Spellman. You are receiving the Turd in the Punch Bowl award for making that trade with Grant and really what felt like at the time denying us the opportunity to see Grant go down. And it just felt like he was on this trajectory that was just like dive bombing. And you were like, here's a bunch of players. Why don't you take them? So
here's some parachutes.
Yeah, man. You ruined such a good opportunity with that trade.
You know what? As I mentioned several times, I'm glad it didn't end up being like that, but I do accept this award wholeheartedly and have learned my lesson. There's a couple people that are on my Dunzo list, so they're training for me.
Yeah,
hey, isn't it a good feeling, Spelly, to change your name from Squid to back to your real name after a long year?
So good. And after almost being there twice or for 2 years, that would have just sucked. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, Lang is receiving the 2022 Los Angeles Rams award for doing exactly what they did this year. They went from the championship to the worst. I think it's the worst record by a previous Super Bowl winner ever in the history of the NFL. And, Landon went from first to worst. Back-to-back championships to Squid.
Arguably
3 titles in a row, technically, I guess, if you want to give him that.
Yeah.
But
this will arguably be the worst, or not worst, the most boring beer mile, though, ever. He's going to run it in 8.5 minutes. And be done.
Don't forget, Jake, you do get to choose the beers.
Oh.
So maybe you could make it interesting with that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He would be the one guy that I would like. He'd be the one guy that I would not feel bad at all if you gave him like 8% like IPAs.
Yeah.
Give him a Steel Reserve.
Well, I mean,
he did mix it.
He gave you didn't he give you a?
He gave you a Guinness.
A Guinness.
Yeah, I mean Guinness and see how he does.
Maybe just I don't think I'll give him 4. Well, he might want the challenge. Who knows?
No, give him
He's
4.
lactose intolerant anyway.
Give him 4 random gross ones, dude.
I just say that because he can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
I'll ask him. I'm like, hey, if you really want to make this fun, let's get 4 Guinnesses in there.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
right,
cool.
We got about 30 seconds left, so those are all great awards. I'm super happy with all those, and I think we had a great fantasy season. It's hard to believe it's over, but this is our last podcast, as we mentioned, and we really look forward to hopefully doing this again next year, and we look forward to the 2 months of silent grouping that everybody has something to talk about. We'll see you guys at the draft. But with that, you guys ready to sign out?
Yep.
We're out.
Good season, everyone.
All right. See you guys.
Until next time.
See ya.